Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, your boy Virtus here, and welcome back to the Unreal Engine 4 Level Design Essentials. In today's video, we are going to be showing you how you can properly navigate within your viewport. So the viewport is probably the most important part of the level editor. The viewport, like I mentioned in the last video, is your way of seeing your game, moving your assets and your objects within your game, but most importantly, seeing exactly what you're creating. Now, most of you will probably have figured out already, you can just use the keys and the mouse to move around. However, there's also a variety of functions within the viewport which allow you to properly use it. So you've got things like camera panning, you've got dollying, you've got rotating around objects, and it's all of those little functions that I'm going to teach you in today's video, in addition to the normal stuff just generally flying around. Now, starting off with things, you've got two main functions with your viewport. First things first, you are going to be able to press play at the top here and then dive into your game, and you can get a simulated view of your project, or your game rather. And this is all done from the little play icon up here. If you press the little down arrow next to play, you can use a variety of different play modes, and the one selected is just selected viewports, and like I said, that's going to allow you to see your game in real time inside of your big viewport window. You've also got some stuff for the mobile interface, the standalone game, and that's for opening up the game separately to your viewport, so you don't need to worry about that. But if for whatever reason you can't get your game into your viewport, just make sure you've got selected viewport selected up here. Now, moving on, let's talk about actually moving within our viewport, moving the camera about. So it's really simple. So the first thing is, with your mouse, holding down right click, you can rotate up, down, left, right, and all of that good stuff. And from there, you can also use the W, A, S and D keys, or the arrow keys, to move forwards, backwards, left and right. And also, in addition to that, you can use the left and right click to move left, right, up and down, and it's just really about finding the controls. You'll get used to it within a little bit of time, but the important thing is, and the way that I do it, is just right click to aim my camera, and that can make me look in any direction that I want to, and then just use W, A, S and D to move around. Now, while you're doing this, you've got a couple of extra functions to help you navigate within your viewport a little bit easier. So in the top right hand corner, you have got a little button here for camera speed, and this is going to allow you to change the speed at which you navigate through your viewport, or your level rather. So if you turn this up and you have a really big level, you can fly through this really quickly. If you have something small and you want to be a bit more precise, you can change this down to something like 1 and it's going to move really slow. Now, you can actually adjust this. I'm going to quickly change this back to 4 so we have a half decent speed, but you can actually adjust this while you're moving within your viewport. So if you're going in like this, if you want to, you can use the scroll wheel and scroll up. You can use the scroll up and the scroll down to speed things up and go a little bit faster. So instead of stopping, changing the camera speed, you can just use the scroll wheel to do it. So you can see I've got a decent speed here. And then if I speed up by scrolling up, I'm now suddenly moving really fast. And one thing I do want you to note is that this is completely independent of your camera speed at the top here. So as soon as you right click, it is going to take you to this adjusted speed. So what you need to do is just do the same thing again, just scroll and go back in the opposite direction and do whatever you did to undo your change. Now, if you wanted to, you could just chuck your camera speed down. It's entirely up to you, but I will leave that for you guys to figure out. Now, one other thing that I want to mention is a couple of keys that we have access to zoom in and out of an object. So, or not an object, but sort of anything in general, really. So what I'm going to do is, first things first, you can use C while right clicking to zoom into an object, and you can also use Z to zoom out. So as soon as you right click, it's going to snap back to your normal view. But let's say I want to quickly zoom in this object here, this little box, and I don't want to have to fly over to it. I can just hold down C to zoom in and have a proper look. And then press Z to zoom back out again, or even get a little bit of distance from it. Is entirely up to you. Now, one other cool little function that we have available to us within our viewport is if you select an object just by clicking it and hold down right click and then press F, just press F without right click, it's going to snap you to a view for that object. So if I select my camera here, my character here for example, press F, it's going to frame that character and make sure all of that character fits in my view. And I can do that with any object, so I can go over to this box, select that, press F, and it's going to try and get as much of it in frame as possible. If I select my player start here, press F, it's going to put it in the center of my viewport, select the ramp, press F, it's going to move us over there, and that is one of the easiest ways that you can use to get around your viewport. Just select what you want to go to, press F, and there's no worrying about flying around, changing your speed, it's just going to automatically jump to it. So, the next thing that I want to show you is with an object selected, you can hold down Alt and left click to rotate around that object. So this can sort of give you the ability to easily get underneath an object, on top of an object, and this is all going to go around the point at which you've got selected already. So if I move up here for a better view, hold down Alt, left click, I can rotate around the object. If I hold down Alt and right click, I can then move forwards and backwards from the object. So let me show you this. So I'm going to turn up my camera speed a little bit to make this a bit more obvious, and then Alt and right click, and I can pretty much zoom in and out, zoom out and in from our objects, so going backwards and forth, and this can get you the ability to get really close up with your object. Anyway, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to go over for the viewport. For the most part, you are going to pick up all of these functions as you go through the series, but the most important bit is that you can fly around within your level, within your game, and you can see exactly what you're doing. Anyway guys, that is pretty much everything for this video. Once again, thanks for watching, stay awesome, keep curating, and I will see you in the next video. Your boy Virtus, signing out. This video was made possible by my supporters on Patreon. If you want more videos like this, check out my Patreon page using the link in the description. To stay up to date on new releases, make sure you follow us on social media.